Today we'll look at 14 casts before and after. We'll show you what happened to the stars of the biggest series and movies from the 80s and 90s, where you'll find out which of them had successful careers and who fell into obscurity. Let's watch it. It's fascinating. Friends. Before becoming Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston had only a few credits in low-budget productions. However, by the time the series ended in 2004, her status as a global star was more than solidified, as she not only established herself as the queen of romantic comedies with films like My Boss's Daughter, The Bounty Hunter, and The Breakup, but also found success on television, as seen in 2019 with her starring role in The Morning Show, which earned her a Screen Actors Guild Award in 2020. Her co-star David Schwimmer will always be known for his role as Ross Geller, but he also tried his luck in the 90s with films like The Pallbearer and Kissing a Fool, although none achieved the expected success. At least his television career remained strong after Friends, as he had a supporting role in the acclaimed miniseries Band of Brothers, and later received an Emmy nomination for his portrayal of Robert Kardashian in American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Recently, he starred for 2 seasons in the British comedy series Intelligence, reaffirming his acting skills in both drama and comedy. Courtney Cox, who played the control freak Monica Geller, had one of the earliest successes of the group when she joined the Scream horror franchise in 1996, portraying journalist Gail Weathers. Cox returned for all the sequels, including the 6th installment in 2023, while her biggest post-Friends success on television was Cougar Town, a series she starred in for 6 seasons. In recent years, she acted in the comedy horror series Shining Vale, but it was canceled after just 2 seasons. Matthew Perry, who portrayed the sarcastic Chandler Bing, also tried his luck in film with romantic comedies like Fools Rush In and 3 to Tango, none of which had a significant impact. Despite this, he achieved moderate success with The Whole 9 Yards, alongside Bruce Willis. Over the years, he continued working in television, starring in the series Mr. Sunshine and Go On, but both were canceled after just 1 season. Sadly, Matthew passed away on October 28, 2023, leaving as one of his last credits the reunion with his Friends co-stars, which premiered in 2021. Next up is Lisa Kudrow, known for her quirky portrayal of Phoebe Buffay. She didn't take long to return to television after Friends ended, as in 2005, she starred in The Comeback, a series that earned her an Emmy nomination. Later, she was the creative force behind Web Therapy, an internet series whose success allowed it to jump to television on the Showtime network. In recent years, she participated in projects like the British comedy Feel Good and lent her voice to the 6th season of Rick and Morty. Lastly, Matt LeBlanc, whom you surely remember as the lovable but clueless Joey Tribbiani, starred in the Friends spin-off Joey, focused solely on his character, but it aired for just 2 seasons. Fortunately, he found success in the series episodes, where he played an exaggerated version of himself with such skill that he received Emmy nominations for 5 consecutive years. After finishing this production, he starred in The Comedy Man with a Plan for 4 seasons and hosted the British automotive show Top Gear from 2016 to 2019, showcasing his versatility beyond comedic acting. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith's journey after the role that made him famous is filled with one success after another. As soon as the series ended in 1996, he starred in Independence Day, which became the highest-grossing film of the year, followed by major productions like the Men in Black trilogy, the drama The Pursuit of Happiness, and his Oscar-winning role as Best Actor in King Richard, A Winning Family. Now, let's turn our attention to Alfonso Ribeiro, who will forever be remembered as the incomparable Carlton Banks. His television roles include The Comedy in the House, and he lent his voice to the animated Spider-Man series that aired from 1994 to 1998. More recently, he opted to work as a television host on America's Funniest Home Videos, and was the winner of Season 19 of Dancing with the Stars. Next is James Avery, whom you surely remember as the patriarch of the family, Philip Banks. After the series concluded, he landed supporting roles in CSI: That 70s Show, and his last appearance was in the film Wish I Was Here, released a few months after his unfortunate passing in December 2013. Unlike the rest of the cast, who enjoyed successful careers, Karen Parsons, who played Hilary Banks, hasn't appeared in a film since she acted in Sweet Thing over 3 years ago, and her last television work was in the animated series Static Shock in 2002. Meanwhile, Ashley Banks was portrayed by Tatiana Ali. Since the end of the series, she has been busy trying her hand at music, studied at the prestigious Harvard University, and made guest appearances in numerous television series, including her role in Bel-Air, the production that reimagines the events of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in today's dramatic context. The role of Vivian Banks was played by two actresses. The first was Janet Hubert for the first 3 seasons, until she left during her pregnancy to focus on her family. After her return to the industry, she acted in General Hospital: The Last OG and the film Single Black Female. Following her departure in 1993, she was replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid, whose most recent work was as a guest star in Bel-Air. We also can't forget Joseph Marcel as Jeffrey, the refined butler of the Banks family, who recently acted in the films The Exorcism of God and The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and he returned to his roots by working in theater. Aside from his role as Nicky, child actor Ross Bagley acted in The Little Rascals and shared the screen with Will Smith again in Independence Day, but he retired from acting in the mid-2000s and now works as a DJ and in real estate. The cast of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air concludes with DJ Jazzy Jeff as Jazz. Music has always been his great passion. He has released 15 albums and EPs of hip-hop and R&B, and also composed a couple of songs for the film Straight Outta Compton. Beetlejuice. After bringing the titular character to life, Michael Keaton established himself as one of Hollywood's most versatile actors. His career took off even further when he donned the Batman suit in the films directed by Tim Burton, released in 1989 and 1992. While these roles catapulted him to fame, he didn't stop there and starred in other successful productions like Multiplicity, Jackie Brown, and lent his voice to Ken in Toy Story 3. More recently, his performance in Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. He made his long-awaited return as Batman in the movie The Flash, and of course, reprised his role as Beetlejuice in the recent sequel. Alec Baldwin also enjoyed a meteoric rise in the 90s and 2000s with roles in The Hunt for Red October, Pearl Harbor, and The Cooler, the latter of which earned him an Oscar nomination. However, his most memorable role came with 30 Rock, the comedy where he played Jack Donaghy for 7 seasons, winning 2 Emmy Awards and 2 Golden Globes. At the same time, Geena Davis left an indelible mark with her performance in Thelma and Louise, which earned her an Oscar nomination. She was also acclaimed for her work in A League of Their Own, for which she received a Golden Globe nomination, while on television she stood out in the adaptation of The Exorcist and in Grey's Anatomy. Catherine O'Hara is the next star who had a career split between film, playing Kevin's mother in Home Alone, and her amazing performance as Moira Rose in the television series Schitt's Creek, for which she won an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Lastly, Winona Ryder shone as Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice and became one of the 90s favorite actresses with films like Edward Scissorhands and Girl, Interrupted. After a brief retirement, she made a triumphant return to the screen as Joyce Byers in Stranger Things. The Karate Kid. Ralph Macchio was the teenager who captured hearts in the 80s, thanks to his role as the hero Daniel LaRusso in the Karate Kid trilogy. In addition to portraying one of the decade's great characters, he starred in iconic films like My Cousin Vinny and The Outsiders, a film that launched major names like Tom Cruise, Diane Wiest, Emilio Estevez, and Rob Lowe to stardom. While his 21st century career focused mainly on television, with appearances in popular series like Ugly Betty and How I Met Your Mother, it was his triumphant return to the role of Daniel LaRusso in Cobra Kai that reaffirmed his status as a pop culture legend, bringing the Karate Kid universe back to a new generation. Fans also nostalgically remember Pat Morita as the unforgettable Mr. Miyagi. His masterful portrayal of the martial arts teacher earned him an Oscar nomination, and his legacy in the Karate Kid franchise lives on, even after his passing in 2005 at the age of 73. Morita also left his mark in other projects, such as when he voiced the Emperor in Mulan. William Zabka, who played the infamous Johnny Lawrence, was so inspired by his role in The Karate Kid that he earned a green belt in Tang Soo Do, but his career never reached massive stardom. Nevertheless, his return to Cobra Kai in 2018 was a resounding success and gave him a second chance to showcase his acting talent. Meanwhile, Martin Kove played the fearsome Sensei John Kreese and continued his career in film and television after the trilogy, including a participation in Dancing with the Stars. Finally, we have Elizabeth Shue as Allie Mills, the love interest of Daniel and Johnny in the first installment of the saga. Besides shining in films like Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3, she received an Oscar nomination for Leaving Las Vegas, while more recently her appearance in Power Rangers. The first Power Rangers series unleashed a global phenomenon in the 90s, becoming the favorite show of millions of kids captivated by the epic battles between the heroes and villains bent on destroying Earth. Among the main characters were Austin Street, John as Jason Lee Scott, the Red Ranger and team leader. After his role in the series, he reprised his character in the movie Power Rangers Turbo and appeared in several episodes of Power Rangers Wild Force and Power Rangers Beast Morphers. After serving 4 years in the Army as a paramedic, he took on a few minor roles in productions like Monsters at Large and A Walk with Grace. He also started his own business, but was arrested in 2022 for defrauding $3.5 million from a government aid program for businesses during the pandemic. This scandal led to his absence from the Netflix special Power Rangers, Yesterday, Today, and Forever, released in April 2023, disappointing many fans who hoped to see him again as the Red Ranger. Tui Trang's story, the actress who portrayed the Yellow Ranger, Trini Kwan, ended tragically. After her participation in the series, she appeared in films like The Crow, City of Angels, and Spy Hard. But in 2001, at just 27 years old, she lost her life in a car accident. In the recent Power Rangers reunion special, her absence was explained by stating that her character was killed by the villain Rita Repulsa. Regarding Walter Jones, the actor behind the Black Ranger, Zach Taylor, he kept his career active after the series, working as a voice actor in video games and animated series. Throughout his artistic career, he guest starred in shows including Buffy the Vampire Slayer and CSI, and was also one of the few original actors who returned for the Netflix special. David Yost, the Blue Ranger, took a different path, stepping away from the spotlight to work behind the scenes as a producer for television shows, including The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. However, he couldn't resist the call of the Power Rangers legacy and returned alongside his fellow cast members in last year's special. Jason David Frank, who played the Green Ranger, Tommy Oliver, and later the White Ranger, was known for his martial arts skills and returned to his roots by acting in other franchise series like Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Power Rangers Hyperforce. After battling long-term depression, he tragically took his own life on November 19, 2022, leaving a huge void in the saga where he always shined as a martial arts expert. Amy Jo Johnson portrayed the first Pink Ranger. After the series ended, she continued her television career with roles in Felicity, Superman and Lois, and Flashpoint. Although she didn't appear in the Netflix special, she confirmed that she is working on a comic to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Power Rangers. Steve Cardenas was the actor who took up the mantle of the second Red Ranger, Rocky DeSantos, and fortunately returned for the reunion special, while the second Pink Ranger, Catherine Sutherland, joined the original cast to reminisce about the golden days of the franchise that marked their lives and those of millions of fans around the world. Back to the future. When we think of this saga, Michael J. Fox's name is inevitable. In the 80s and 90s, he was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, starring in hits like Doc Hollywood, Mars Attacks, and the TV series Spin City, where he appeared in 103 episodes. He also voiced the charming protagonist in Stuart Little, which helped solidify his status as one of entertainment's most beloved figures. However, his brilliant career was interrupted in the mid-90s when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Despite the decline in his acting projects, he didn't give up. Instead, he channeled his energy into fundraising for research towards a cure. To date, he has raised over $1 billion, making him a symbol of struggle and hope for millions affected by Parkinson's disease. Christopher Lloyd portrayed the legendary Dr. Emmett Brown and continued to showcase his versatility with memorable roles in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the two Addams Family films in the 90s. Recently, he appeared as a guest star on The Big Bang Theory and in the third season of The Mandalorian. Additionally, he has reprised his role as Doc Brown several times, mainly in video games like LEGO Dimensions. Leah Thompson played the role of Marty McFly's mother. She continued her career in film and television, participating in projects like the Beverly Hillbillies and competing in the 19th season of Dancing with the Stars. In recent years, she starred in all 9 films of the Jane Doe saga for the Hallmark Channel. Of course, we can't forget Thomas F. Wilson, famous for his portrayal of the villain Biff Tannen. Apart from his role in Back to the Future, he focused primarily on voice acting, with his most notable work being the voice of several characters in SpongeBob SquarePants for over 20 years. E.T. At just 7 years old, Drew Barrymore was launched to stardom thanks to this Steven Spielberg production, which became the highest-grossing film of the 80s. Her charming portrayal of Gertie, Elliot's little sister, was one of the film's highlights and marked the beginning of a fruitful career in Hollywood. Since then, she has shown in hits like The Wedding Singer and Charlie's Angels. Nowadays, she also hosts her own talk show, where on one memorable occasion she reunited with her former E.T. co-stars to evoke the magic of their childhood on set. Henry Thomas, who was 10 when he portrayed Elliot, was the boy who befriended the adorable extraterrestrial. Starring in one of the most successful movies of all time was just the start of a career that led him to work in films like Gangs of New York and Dear John, in addition to his recent role in the series The Fall of the House of Usher. But most importantly, in 2019 he returned to his role as Elliot in a commercial for Xfinity, reuniting him with his alien friend during Christmas. Besides his acting work, he has a musical side with several independently released albums. Another actor was Robert McNaughton, who played Michael, Elliot's older brother. Unlike the rest of the cast, he chose to retire from acting in the late 80s, but returned to the industry in 2015 working in independent productions. The last star is Dee Wallace, the mother of the main children, who continued with a prolific career in the horror genre with her unforgettable role in Cujo and accumulated multiple television appearances over the years. Seinfeld. The Emmy-winning comedy, which took home 10 awards, turned Jerry Seinfeld into a television legend as he played a semi-fictional version of himself in a version of his life as a comedian in New York. Its success was so impactful that in its final season, he made history by becoming the first television actor to earn $1 million per episode. Despite receiving a record-breaking offer of $5 million per episode to film one more season, Jerry turned it down, stating that the series had already reached its peak quality and that prolonging it could harm it. Since Seinfeld ended more than 25 years ago, he returned to his stand-up roots and has remained present in the entertainment industry. In 2007, he produced and starred in the animated film B-Movie, and he was the host of the hit series Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, where he shared coffee and conversations with renowned comedians in each episode. This year, he made his directorial debut and starred in the film Unfrosted, which humorously narrates the creation of Kellogg's Pop-Tarts in the 60s. While Jerry continued to shine, the rest of the cast faced what many considered the Seinfeld curse. Michael Richards, who played the eccentric Kramer, launched his own series titled The Michael Richards Show, but it was canceled after airing just 8 episodes. Unfortunately, his career plummeted after a controversial incident during a stand-up performance, in which he was accused of making racist comments, and since then, he has withdrawn from public life. Then there's Jason Alexander as George Costanza. While he participated in films like Shallow Hal and starred in the series Listen Up for one season, his career could be described as a roller coaster. Despite guest appearances in shows like Everybody Hates Chris, he never regained a role as significant as George's. On the other hand, Julia Louis-Dreyfus was the only one aside from Jerry who broke the Seinfeld curse. After experiencing several years of ups and downs, in 2006, she starred in The New Adventures of Old Christine and won an Emmy that marked her triumphant return. The best was yet to come, as her greatest success was the series Veep, where she played the ambitious Vice President of the United States, Selina Meyer. Her incredible performance was rewarded with 6 consecutive Emmy Awards, and she can finally say she has broken the Seinfeld curse for good. The Goonies. The 80s wouldn't have been the same without this movie, which undoubtedly marked a turning point in the adventure genre. Beyond its success, it's fascinating to know that it launched several child and young stars to fame, some of whom had prominent careers in Hollywood while others faded into obscurity. Among the most memorable is Sean Astin, who played the daring Mikey Walsh. After his success in The Goonies, he continued his career with memorable roles, especially as Sam in the epic The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and more recently joined the 2nd season of Stranger Things as Bob Newby, Joyce Byers' love interest and undeniable hero in the fight against the Demogorgons. On the other hand, Ke Huy Quan portrayed the resourceful Richard Data Wong, but experienced a sudden decline in his career when Hollywood stopped offering him significant roles. After nearly 2 decades away from the big screen, he made a powerful comeback in Everything Everywhere All at Once, earning a well-deserved Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. His triumphant return led him to act in the series Loki, portraying Ouroboros. But most impressively, it was thanks to Jeff Cohen, the actor who played Chunk in The Goonies, who helped him secure a role in the award-winning Everything Everywhere All at Once with his new job as an entertainment lawyer. Josh Brolin is another cast member, who after portraying the tough Brandon Walsh, had a prolific career, earning an Oscar nomination for Milk and reaching the pinnacle of the industry with his portrayal of Thanos, the relentless villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, not all cast members were as fortunate. One was John Matuszak, who played Sloth Fratelli, but he passed away in 1989 due to substance abuse issues. We also can't forget Corey Feldman, who couldn't replicate his childhood success in his adult career, while Kerry Green, who played Andy, had only limited appearances in series like ER and Law & Order. Beverly Hills 90210. The quintessential teen series of the 90s not only defined an era, but also catapulted its young stars to stardom, turning them into teenage idols. One of the most remembered actors was Luke Perry, who brought the rebellious and charming Dylan McKay to life. After the series ended, he continued his television career with notable roles in John from Cincinnati and reached a new generation by playing Archie's father in Riverdale. His last screen work was in the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by Quentin Tarantino, which was released posthumously following his tragic death on March 4, 2019. Jenny Garth, who portrayed the complicated Kelly Taylor, starred in all 10 seasons of the original series and reprised her role in Melrose Place and the sequel 90210. Additionally, she showcased her versatility by starring in the series What I Like About You alongside Amanda Bynes and had her own reality show called Jenny Garth, A Little Bit Country. Her talent also led her to compete in Dancing with the Stars, and she currently co-hosts the podcast 90210MG with her co-star Tori Spelling. The latter had a rather complicated career. Despite being the daughter of billionaire producer Aaron Spelling, she did not achieve the massive success expected of her, appearing mainly in Christmas movies for television and competing in The Masked Singer. Now we have Ian Ziering as Steve Sanders. After several years without significant roles, he found a second wind as an actor thanks to the Sharknado franchise, starring in all 6 films of the saga. Meanwhile, Gabrielle Carteris, who played the intelligent Andrea Zuckerman, continued on television with supporting roles and devoted herself to voice acting in animated series. Brian Austin Green, in the role of David Silver, made his mark in science fiction with Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles, and later excelled in comedies like Freddy, Wedding Band, and Anger Management. Then we have Tiffany Thiessen, who joined the series in the 5th season as the troubled Valerie Malone, but is best known for her role as Kelly Kapowski in Saved by the Bell. More recently, she has continued to shine on television with series like Fastlane and White Collar and received an Emmy nomination for her work in the comedy Alexa and Katie. We also can't forget Jason Priestley in the role of the main protagonist, Brandon Walsh. With a career-spanning series like What I Like About You Without a Trace and Call Me Fitz, he has also had a successful career as a director, notably directing episodes for series that include Private Eyes and Van Helsing. To conclude, we have Shannon Doherty as Brenda Walsh. Although she continued her career in the series Charmed, her tumultuous behavior led her to leave in the 3rd season. The rest of her career was a mix of supporting roles and TV movies until she announced her retirement from acting after being diagnosed with cancer and sadly passed away on July 13th. Saved by the Bell. The popular 90s series set in Bayside High School was a phenomenon that launched its young cast to stardom. One of them was Mark Paul Gosselaar, who played Zach Morris and became an audience favorite with his charisma and antics. After the 4 seasons of the original series, he continued portraying Zach in several spin-offs like Hawaiian Style, College Years, and Wedding in Las Vegas, where he finally married his great love, Kelly Kapowski. After his time as a teen idol, he established himself as a versatile actor with roles in NYPD Blue for 4 seasons, the political drama Commander-in-Chief, John from Cincinnati, and the comedy Franklin and Bash, until in 2020, he returned along with several of his former co-stars in the reboot of Saved by the Bell, which aired for 2 seasons. Now we have Mario Lopez, who played A.C. Slater and also found success beyond Bayside High. Shortly after finishing his role, he joined the series Pacific Blue as Bobby Cruz and appeared in 46 episodes of the soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. Additionally, he played Dr. Mike Hamui in Nip Tuck, and while he continued acting, most of his recent career has focused on being a television host, working on shows like Entertainment Tonight, America's Best Dance Crew, and The X Factor. As for Tiffany Thiessen, she had a significant career after finishing her portrayal of Kelly Kapowski in Saved by the Bell. Thanks to her sweet girl image, she landed a leading role as Valerie Malone in Beverly Hills 90210, and over the years appeared in productions such as Woody Allen's Hollywood Ending, had recurring roles in White Collar and Alexa and Katie, and even ventured into the culinary world with her cooking show Dinner at Tiffany's. Elizabeth Berkley tried to take her career in a different direction. After playing the smart and ambitious Jessie Spano, she sought to change her image after leaving Saved by the Bell with her role in the controversial film Showgirls. Unfortunately, It was a complete failure that damaged her career for years, until she managed to recover thanks to supporting roles in productions like Woody Allen's The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, and eventually returned to television in the reboot of Saved by the Bell. Lark Voorhees, as the fashionista Lisa Turtle, is also a notable mention. She initially portrayed recurring characters in Days of Our Lives and Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, but her career came to an abrupt halt after several commercial failures, though she made a brief return in 3 episodes of the reboot of the series that made her famous. The group of friends lost one of its beloved members with the death of Dustin Diamond, the actor who brought the eccentric Samuel Screech Powers to life. After Saved by the Bell, he participated in several reality shows and competitions, but his life tragically ended when he was diagnosed with lung cancer, passing away in February 2021. Gremlins. Like many young artists who participated in Steven Spielberg's productions, Zach Galligan became an overnight star thanks to his charismatic role in Gremlins. His infectious sense of adventure and undeniable chemistry with his co-stars catapulted him to stardom in the 80s. Playing Billy Peltzer, he faced the disastrous and mischievous creatures that made Gremlins a cult classic. After starring in both installments of the saga, he joined the Waxwork horror franchise. Although his career has been mostly limited to supporting roles since those successes, he remains active in film and television, amassing over 40 credits over the years, and is expected to reprise the role that made him famous in a possible 3rd installment of Gremlins. Meanwhile, his co-star Phoebe Cates was already a teen icon thanks to her unforgettable performance in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, one of the defining films of 80s adolescence. However, she decided to step back from acting in 1994, and since then, her only credits have been in the feature film The Anniversary Party in 2001 and the video game Lego Dimensions as a voice actress. What many don't know is that creating Gizmo's voice was more complicated than it appeared. Howie Mandel was tasked with bringing the Mogwai to life, which meant he had the challenging job of creating the sounds that made Gizmo feel so real and adorable. He continues to work in voice acting and has been a judge on America's Got Talent for nearly 15 years now. Married, with children. Since the end of the series, for which he was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, Ed O'Neill has proven that his talent goes beyond the comedy that made him famous. After supporting roles in films like The Bone Collector and Spartan, he found his true renaissance on television. His triumphant return came with Modern Family, where he played the family patriarch Jay Pritchett and was rewarded with 4 Screen Actors Guild Awards as part of the Best Television Ensemble. Since Modern Family ended, he has continued to thrive, starring in the miniseries The Sterling Affairs, where he portrayed Donald Sterling, the controversial owner of the NBA's Los Angeles Clippers. Katie Sagal played Peggy Bundy. After Married, with Children ended, she took on the lead role in 8 Simple Rules and lent her unmistakable voice to Leela in Futurama. Although her recent series Rebel was canceled after just 1 season, she is set to join the 2nd season of One Piece as Dr. Kureha. Now it's Christina Applegate's turn. After her portrayal of Kelly Bundy, she successfully transitioned to film with movies like The Sweetest Thing, the remake of Vacation, and Bad Moms. After some time, she returned to television with Dead to Me, a dark comedy that was a hit for 3 seasons, but her career was affected after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, leading her to make the tough decision to step back from acting. Finally, David Faustino, who portrayed Bud Bundy, has maintained a modest career with multiple guest appearances in television and film, including a cameo in Modern Family. The Breakfast Club. On February 15, 1985, this film premiered, changing forever how teenage productions were perceived. The story of a seemingly disparate group of students forced to spend a Saturday in detention resonated with audiences and became one of the classics of the 80s. At the center of this group was Molly Ringwald, who became the teenage star of the decade with films like Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles. While she never reached the same level of success again, she continued working in productions like Not Another Teen Movie, The Kissing Booth, and had a prominent role as Archie's mother in Riverdale. Now we have Judd Nelson, who masterfully portrayed the rebel John Bender. That same year, he joined Emilio Estevez and Ali Sheedy in The Breakfast Club. In the 90s, he starred in the series Suddenly Susan alongside Brooke Shields, and more recently made appearances in television productions like CSI, 2.5 Men, and Family Guy. Emilio Estevez was another actor who established himself as a major star in the 80s and 90s with films like The Mighty Ducks. He also acted alongside his brother Charlie Sheen in 2.5 Men, ventured behind the camera directing episodes of CSI, New York and Cold Case, and returned to the role of Gordon Bombay in the television series The Mighty Ducks: Game Changers. Anthony Michael Hall was the other actor who followed a successful career, highlighting his role in Edward Scissorhands and his participation in series like Murder, She Wrote, Entourage, and CSI Miami. He even had a role in Batman, The Dark Knight, and in recent years, stood out in Agents of SHIELD and The Goldbergs. Finally, we have Ali Sheedy, who portrayed the introverted Allison Reynolds in The Breakfast Club. Although her career did not achieve the expected success, she at least made a cameo in X-Men Apocalypse and had a role in the series Single Drunk Female. Additionally, she has dedicated recent years to activism, particularly fighting for equal treatment of women in the film industry. Now tell me, which of these actors do you think has been the most successful? Leave your opinion in the comments. Here are two options that you'll surely love.